So this question is asking you to find the class interval that contains the median. So the class interval means that we're going to have something and something below it. So we're talking about the heights, no we're not, number of hours, H, so it's number of hours for H. So we're talking about the hours that students watch television. So we've got to look here, we're seeing there's 40 children in the table. So that means when we'd add these up, we'd find the answer is 40. And it wants you to find the median position. So we recognise that the median is the middle number when all the numbers are in size order. The problem with this table is we don't actually know exactly what each of these numbers are. We just know that 3 children watch telly between 0 and 1 hour. 8 children watch between 1 and 2 hours. 7 children watch between 2 and 3 hours, and so forth. We don't know the exact numbers, but what we do know is there's 40 children. So they are in size order because of the table going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to find the middle, and what that means we need to find the 20th and the 21st child will be in the middle. 19 below that, 19 above that. So these two will be the middle people. So what we do is we work out what's called the cumulative frequency. So we add up the frequencies as we go down the table. So there's 3 of those, plus these 8 makes 11. Plus these 7 makes 18. So we're adding up as we go down the table. Plus these 10 is 28. So that means up to here we had the first, second and third person. Up to here we had the 4th, 5th, 6th all the way to the 11th person. In here we had the 12th person all the way to the 18th person. In here we have the 19th person, the 20th person, the 21st person all the way to the 28th person. So the 20th and 21st persons are in this group. So therefore the interval we need for the median, the class interval, means that the 20th and 21st people, which were the median people, watched between 3 and 4 hours. So the answer has to be the same as the interval they give you. So always be careful that you copy down what was in the table, and that's the interval up there. The next part of the question says estimate the mean number of hours. So in other words, we want to work out an estimate of the mean average. So that word estimate is given because we don't know exactly what these 3 children watched, only between those. So we're going to have to estimate it. Now the word estimate is shouting out, use the midpoint of the interval. So that's going to be our best guess. So basically we're saying that for these 3 students, we're going to guess that they watched half an hour each. Some might have watched below it, some might have watched above it. But because we chose the middle, it's hopefully going to balance out a bit. The same as these 8 students, children, watched 1.5 hours. Some might have done below it, some might have done above it, so it'll balance out. That means we should add on the extra column that we normally need for the mean average of a table. And the extra column we really should put for the estimate of the mean, m times f, meaning we're doing the midpoint times the frequency to work out the total number of hours that all these children watched television together. So the midpoint of this interval was 1/2. We're times it by the frequency, so therefore it's going to give us an answer of 1.5. Now it might be useful to fill in the midpoint. So we've got 1/2 there, the middle of that is 1.5, the middle of that is 2.5, so the middle of 2 and 3, 2.5, 3.5, and the middle of 4 and 5 is 4.5. Quick way of getting the middle is that you add up the 2 ends of the interval, so 4 plus 5 is 9, and then halve it, 4.5. So here we're going to do 1.5 times 8. Here we're going to do 2.5 times 18. So 2 to 36, and then half of 18 is 9, add together. And then we're going to do 3.5 times 10. Right, so a little mistake here. I hope you picked it up. The frequency here was 8, so 1.5 times 8 is 12. Here the frequency was 7, not 18. I've mixed up the cumulative frequency here. So again, just be careful that you check what you're doing. So this should be 2.5 times 7. So 2.5 times 7, 7 2s are 14, so it's 17.5. So just be careful with that. So that's going to be 17.5. Here we do have a frequency of 10, so we're doing 3.5 times 10, which is 35. And then here we're doing a frequency of 12, so it's going to be 4.5 times 12, which is going to make 54. Now the mean average has got a simple definition. The mean average is always about the total number of hours in this case, because it's about hours, so it's the total number of hours divided by the number of children, because we're trying to work out what typically each child watches. So the mean average is the total number of hours divided by the number of children altogether. And so therefore we add up these and get 120 hours, and we add up those, which they quite told us in the question was 40. So to do the mean average, we're going to be writing mean average equals 120 the total divided by 40 equals 3. So 3 hours. Now the classic mistake that some students make is that they would do 120 divided by 5 because there are 5 rows. Now that's going to give you an answer of 24 hours. Now hopefully you can see that by checking whether your answer makes sense. The maximum number of hours children said that they watched was 5. So to say that a typical average watch was 24 just can't work. No student watched 24 hours, so that would be a whole day. So just be careful that you don't make that mistake. It's about the total numbers, the total number of numbers that gave you the mean average. So we're going to divide by 40 children because there was 40 children in the table. And we work out the total number of hours by estimating using the midpoint times the frequency. So the mean average from a table, we always have this extra column where we use the number of hours. We have to estimate it by using the midpoint in this case times the frequency. So that's an example of calculating averages using group data.